Hello, Helen here. Thanks for joining me. Today I'm going to be making a card with the altenew henna element stamp set. I'm going to be making this panel card that's got distressed inked watercolour panel. So first I start off by prepping my watercolour paper in my embossing buddy, and I'm going to stamp the larger of the flowers with Versamark ink. It's a sticky ink. It's just very hard to see on watercolour paper, but I'll go and put on some Ranger white embossing powder and I'll be able to see where I've stamped. Got a little piece of tiny blue card in my embossing powder, so I better get that out. Now I can see where the images are. I'll go back and fill in the gaps with the small flower from the set. I'm not sure whether I'm going to need something at the bottom there, but we'll put the powder on and have a look. I've made this panel slightly bigger than I need so that I can cut it down. Another little bit of stray powder, and I will go and stamp the bigger bloom at the bottom there just to fill in that gap. Put the embossing powder on that, and that's all the stamping finished. I'll now heat emboss it with my heat tool. Got to be quite careful that you don't overheat it when you're embossing on white watercolour paper, because it can soak in. That's the panel finished. So the next thing I'm going to do is attach it to a wooden board, just an old wooden board with painter's tape, just to keep it nice and flat. And I've got a palette there at the side that I've just made laminated white card, and I'm using picked raspberry and squeezed lemonade inks, and I'm just brushing a very watery wash of those two inks onto the panel. Now I'm going over the flowers and everything because there's a little trick a little bit later that I'll use. It's just easy to get a nice wash if you doing it right over the whole panel. Got a little bit of a hard edge there, so I'm just blending that out a little bit. I love how the pink and the yellow, when they mix, make a lovely sort of soft coral colour. Now the trick that I was telling you about is just to use a moist baby wipe and rub over the embossed flowers. You can use water on a brush just to lift some of that colour off. The baby wipe just sort of absorbs it off. Don't rub too hard, otherwise you might just take some of the paper away, but just using water and then soaking it up with the baby wipe just seems to lighten that whole colour. And then I'm going to use picked raspberry, and I'm going to put on quite a concentrated wash of the watercolour onto each of the flowers. I'll leave you just watching me do that I'm sure you don't want to listen to me the whole time, and I'll pop a little bit of music on and then I'll come back when we've finished colouring the panel. Once I finished my panel, I left it on the board to air dry for a couple of hours. You could dry it with a heat tool if you're impatient. My card base is a 6 by 4 inch or 15 by 10.5 centimetres. I cut the panel down to fit that, and then I cut a hot pink panel that's just 5mm wider than the panel, so that just a little bit poked out either side. I'm putting double-sided tape down to fix my panel onto my hot pink card. Centered it. Sorry about my big fat head getting in the way there. And then I double-sided tape it onto the card base. Now I thought I was going to use the altenew Persian motifs stamp set, the little happy birthday, but it was a little bit small in scale, so I got my Papers Extra happy birthday selection of stamps and picked one, and I'm going to make it into a banner with some scrap card to go on the bottom of my card there. To stamp the sentiment, I use my VersaFine Onyx black ink. Once I'd made the banner, I attached it with some tape runner on the higher panel part and some foam tape on the lower card part, and then finished it off with some pretty pink posh droplets in 4mm and 6mm. That's my card. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for being so patient while I learn this YouTube video making process, and please subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you.